All right, and welcome to this video. What we're going to do here today is we're going to take some time and go back over some of the updates that and enhancements that have been made since Express Maintenance version 8. So currently we are on version 9.6.6.1, and I recognize it's been a couple years since we've upgraded from version 8, but we still have several customers who are still on version 8, not sure if they want to make that jump to 9, and so we thought we would redo the video for two reasons. One, because I just watched the old one and I'm completely embarrassed by my performance on the last one. And two, we just want to give all those who are considering version 8 to version 9 a update on some of the latest and greatest enhancements. So we'll dive right into this. So first of all, when we went to version 8 to version 9, we experienced a different system. It's better it's more user friendly. There's some additional customizations, there's some personal customizations you can make, and overall it's just easier to use. And so we'll start with some of the main menu items. If we go into the file here, nothing really new here. If we go into administration, you'll notice that the defaults is now configuration, and one of the biggest changes in the configuration settings here is the mobile app settings. So yes, we launched a mobile app in September of 2018, and what this does is this just provides a background communication pathway for the mobile application to communicate with the Express Maintenance database, and there's some technicality stuff there that I'm not going to get into. But what happens is once you get your Express Maintenance mobile application server installed, you print off this document, and then from the mobile app, whether it's iOS, Android, or Windows, you just take a picture of this QR code, it automatically sets you up, and you are able to start completing work orders, submitting requests, and things like that. So pretty cool. Next up is we have the services. So I'll show you a couple things under services here. And you'll also notice that we have this tabbed view. Now, the tabbed view is not set up by default. I really like it. I enjoy being able to quickly go back and forth between different tabs. But if you want to set that up, you need to go into your Utilities, App Preferences, and then right here is the Used Tabbed Maximized Windows. And this is also where you're able to access themes, and I honestly don't remember if themes was a part of version 8. It's just been too long ago, but I like using themes. I like giving it a customized look, and so if you use the tab, if you like the tab settings, that's how you turn it on. So when you get into services, a couple things I want to show you here. One, if I'm looking for a service and I have 1,000 services, I can sort by alphabetical by any one of these, just like I used to be able to, but I also have the ability to come in here and I want to type in hydraulic. I'm just going to type in HYDR and take my hands off the keyboard. It's going to automatically limit the search results based on what I've already typed. So if it can find HYDR anywhere in the system, then it'll pull it up. Same thing with if I just type in year, it's not necessary, it doesn't have to be in the services. In version 8, I remember you used to have to be able to, you would select which one you want the search bar to search on, and then it had to be exactly the way it was. It had to be typed up here the exact same way that it was down here, and it wouldn't limit it. Well, now it makes it so much easier, and if I deleted it, it just opens my search criteria back up again. Okay, that's number one. Number two is sometimes you want to be able to sort and search things a little easier. We've added the functionality to be able to grab a column header here, and I want to move this category right here. What it's going to do is it's going to give me a breakdown by category. So now I can just see all my preventive maintenance services. So that's really cool, and I'll show you a couple of different applications of that throughout the system as we go along. But if I get tired of it, I can just move it back really easy. All right, so next up, I want to show you, the services editor. So I can go into this service, and here's my service. In this case, it's just a general breakdown, and we have some standard work instructions. But if I want to change this, I can right-click, and I have this fancy little editor here. Go to the editor, and this editor is a little nicer than the old editor. It's more it's if the look and feel is a bit more Microsoft Word style. So you have some of the same options and functionalities that you used to in Microsoft Word here. And like always, whenever you change something, you don't have to save your work. You just close out, and it'll change it here. So that's a nice little feature. Okay, let's get out of services and let's go over to companies. Companies in version 8 used to only be an individual company by company view. One of the things that we did with version 9 was we standardized the overview and the data view. So you'll see that in the services, you'll see that in companies and employees and the units and the parts. That overview and data view is standardized throughout the whole system now. And in version 8 you used to have to print off the list of employees to see the whole list. Well, now you can see it in this overview. So that's pretty neat. Another example of that is under locations. Here we see a overview of all of the sites, and then we can go into the data view to see that site's locations. So that's just another example. All right. One of the biggest changes you'll notice is when we look over here at the employees. In version 8, you used to have user accounts, requesters, and employees. Well, what we did was we merged all three of those tables together. So that's one of the things that you have to consider when you're updating, is cleaning up your users, your requesters, and your employee information, because all that gets merged into the same table in Express Maintenance. So if I click on, well, let's see, we'll click on this one here. All right, here's Peter Parker. All right, you'll notice a couple things right off the bat. One, we have messages, so we can actually send messages to the mobile apps right from here. This is where our access settings are. So our user accounts used to be separate from the employee table. Now they're combined, and here's where we get the access settings. And for the most part, this is all the same, but we also have requester settings. So one of the things you'll notice when you launch Express Request after you update to version 9, you no longer get to freestyle type in whatever or whoever the user is. You set up the requester users here in Express Maintenance, and then they get to pick from a list of users when they launch Express Request. So that's another cool feature. Another thing about the employee section is the activity log. In version 8 and all previous versions, the activity log was not set up, it was not turned on by default. Where now, if you go into configuration, you'll see as soon as you update to version 9, the activity log's turned on for all sites that have just recently updated. And I won't get into training on how to use the activity log, but it's been a saving piece of functionality in several instances where we were trying to figure out what happened to the data. It was very easy to go into the activity log, look at the audit trail, and figure out who was messing with the system at that time, what they changed, and then revert it back to its original. So just some another nice feature is the automatic activity log has been turned on. Okay, so next up is, let's see, reports. So quick note on reports is you'll see we have 241 reports in here. You probably don't have that many, but you should have over 200. And the nice thing about the version 9 update is that when you run the version 9 update, it's going to ask you if you want to import all of the latest reports. And then there's a big red, bold caveat there that if you have not been changing the name of your reports and you go to import the new list of reports, then it's going to overwrite any of those reports. So just keep that in mind, that if you guys do want to update your reports, that or anytime you modify a report, that you change the name of it so that when you do update your standard reports list, you get the latest and greatest without overwriting some of the ones that you had already put in there. Okay, so let's go to the maintenance tab. You'll notice that the overview of equipment and the equipment have now been condensed into one, and then we have the reports over here as well. The equipment screen, really not a whole lot of changes here, except for that searching is easier. And so again, if I want to search for the grinder, I just type in grinder, and it's going to search and pull out all of those items there for me. I can clear that up. If I want to sort this by location, I'll just bring that column header over here, and there's all of my equipment by location. I can even add multiple breakdowns, so if I want to also know the category after the location, I can see a further breakdown of each equipment by location, by category. And so you can be as detailed with that as you want. Okay, the other option that's nice here is if I go to this air compressor, and I now have this option right here, and I can create a work order right from the equipment list. A lot of people were asking for that, and we're really glad that we're able to give that to you. Okay, another thing that you're going to want to notice, in the old version, in version 8, there was an option up here to adjust the units screen and what fields were showing up. Well, that is now under the configuration. So if I go to the equipment, the define unit screen layout is right here. And this is where you are able to turn on or turn off or move fields around, or you can relabel those user-defined fields so that they're customized for you. Now, if you're a multi-site in one database, you need to consider standardization, because anything that you do in the configuration settings are going to be global. And so, but this is also where you get to pick and choose which tabs are available. And all of this customization really makes the user, the end user experience a lot nicer. And that's what we're going for. All right, let's take a look at work orders. So here we have the work order button. It's no longer the work order overview and the work order data view. It's just the one work orders button. Okay, and a couple nice added functionality here. First of all, you are able to jump right to a work order using your work order number. And it always starts out in the work order overview. There's still the service overview, work order overview. But one of the nice things is whatever work orders you have pulled up here, we have several in November. If I click on this calendar option, okay, whatever work orders I have pulled up in that list are going to show up in this calendar option. And so you can start to see what your workload looks like using that calendar feature. You also have extra grid properties that you can pull from, and you can also now organize these fields however you want to. Okay, another thing that we had asked for and we finally got was you can turn on a footer, and down here you'll notice that all my labor estimates are calculating. So once I right click and turn on my footer, then I can come down here and tell it what I want to do. Do I want it to add them up? Do I want to show just the minimums, the maximums, the counts, whatever? And that way, for my planning and scheduling purposes, if I select Eric Waymeyer as a technician for a certain date range, I can see how many estimated labor hours I have attributed to that technician. So that's a nice little feature as well. Another thing that you'll notice on here is the view POs. So if I have a part in purchase and I associated that purchase order line item with a work order, then I can see the current status of those parts on work orders. And with some of our new implementation strategies, we are using the work order class to identify which work orders are waiting on parts, and this is just a really nice way of being able to click on it and identify which work orders are waiting on parts and which POs and what their status is. Okay, next up is purchasing, and purchasing there's fewer menu items, but again we just condensed them. Nothing really new there. And under utilities, I don't remember, I haven't seen version 8 in a while, but setting these lookup list properties are pretty handy. And if you want to know how to organize your units lookup list, this is where you do it. And a good example of that is if I go to the Work Order Data tab and I select this drop down, the unit name, the unit, the location, the site, and what that piece of equipment is attached to, I set that up for me personally in the units lookup list. So unit, or name, the unit, the location, the site, and what it's attached to. And then over here you get to decide what the display length is going to be. So if you've ever been frustrated with the fact that those fields were limited, that's how you can fix it. And the last thing I'll show you is just a few more customizations. Under your app preferences, you have using themes, and you can pick from any one of these themes. Okay, you can pick your default tab on open. Okay, and you can pick your font and size and all of that. And then you can also come over here and you can minimize the ribbon. So if you need more workspace, you can do that as well. If you want to customize the ribbon, let's say I don't need the help option. Hit OK. The help menu just disappears. Okay, now I can only see what I've been granted access to see under my user account settings, but once I've been granted access, I can always remove it if I want to. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us. You can email us at info@mass.systems. Again, my name is Eric Waymeyer. Look forward to meeting you out there in the manufacturing world, and we'll talk to you soon.